Do you want to make your Xamarin.Forms and .NET MAUI applications even more performant? Look no further than XAML compiled bindings. This piece of technology built directly into Xamarin.Forms and .NET MAUI enables to make your XAML bindings 8 times faster with just a single line of code. I'm going to walk through everything you need to know, so tune in. Hey everyone, I'm James Montemagno and I'm back with another video, sort of in the tips and tricks section, I would say, over here on my channel. Of course, I have a full Xamarin 101 and been talking about all of the .NET MAUI previews, so definitely subscribe and ding that notification bell. And hey, at any time you're watching this video and you like it, or just, hey, you like it right now, hit that like button. That goes into the Google algorithm of goodness. Just jam on it. It'll make me happy and it really helps my channel. I appreciate that. All right, so we're writing XAML all day, and it's enabling us to build and construct our user interfaces and get really complex. We've talked about MVVM 101, XAML 101, advances in different list views and collection views, and really advancing out building complex user interfaces. The thing is that as things get more complex, you have a lot more data bindings in place, which means Xamarin.Forms and .NET MAUI are subscribing to more things, more XAML is being parsed, or XAML is getting bigger. So we want to make it faster. We want to resolve those bindings faster. And additionally, we want to help the tooling know what we're talking about on every page or every control that we're coding. And we want to enable it to give us error checking when we're building our application. So you can do that with compiled bindings. It makes it super simple to go off and build faster applications because your XAML will be parsed and the data bindings will happen faster. So let's check it out. So like I always say, go to the documentation. It's absolutely fantastic. Literally here, Xamarin.Forms compiled bindings. It's the same as .NET MAUI compiled bindings. It's very similar to UWP's like XBind mechanism. But what it does is if we look at what they say here is that there's 2 problems today. One is that there's no compile time validation on binding expressions, it's just a magical string. And additionally, they're not super cost efficient because they're being resolved at runtime. So if we use something like compiled bindings, well, what does it do? Well, it enables us to enable, not only XAML compilation, but set this X data type attribute that will enable those bindings to be resolved faster. And you can do this on any control at any time. And additionally, it works with items inside of list views or collection views, anything with the item source, an item template. So check this out. The biggest thing that I want to talk about here is that a compiled binding here enables your one-way to source and 2-way bindings to be resolved 8 times faster. That is crazy than classic bindings. It also talks about how setting binding contacts will be 5 times faster than not setting binding contacts. And then, of course, 7 times quicker when you're using one-time binding up on your binding context too. So there's a lot of advantages here, and it just takes a single line of code. So let's hop over to the coffee application that I've been building out on the 101 series over here. So definitely check that out up there. I'll put a bell over there for it. Let's make this a little bit bigger. There we go. So what do we have? Well, this page right now, is a coffee page. It has a binding context set. So this is our view model binding context, and I'm just doing it in code. You also might be doing this in the code behind, and in that case, you may not get better IntelliSense or error checking or anything like that. Down here, we just have a list view. It has an item template, and then it has a header and footer. And we're going to add a group header template because it's going to be grouped as well. And I'm going to talk about why we're going to do that inside of this application. Well, so what do we need to do to enable binding? Well, what we need to do first is make sure that we're exposing the property types that are going to be inside of our page or maybe inside of our list view or collection view. So here what I've done is I've brought in my namespace right here for view models. And then I've also brought in a namespace for model. So if we look at my model folder over here inside of my application, so inside of my shared up here, there we go. We'll see that that is inside of my coffee. So we have coffee here. And we also have our, of course, coffee equipment view model. So a few things that Visual Studio 2019 and 2022 will do for you automatically is that we can tell that actually it is telling me with this little ... here that the coffee groups 2 on my item source is not found and that it will create it for me. But if I go into my view models, which is going to again be this coffee equipment, we can see that I actually have coffee's group. So I just had a typo there. Well, since we're not using compiled bindings at this point, the IntelliSense is smart enough, but it's not like a build error. Look, like build successful, no errors, everything like that. So we're going to use a X data type. That is a compiled binding. So anywhere on the content page, or it might be a content view, or any of you have, you're going to say X data type. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tell it, in this case, what the binding context is. Like, what is the data type of this? And what we're going to say is this is going to be view model, coffee equipment view model. So this here pairs with the binding. Now, I don't have to be using this here. I could actually turn this off and set it in my code behind. I'd still get enhanced IntelliSense in dropdowns, and I will then get the compile time checking. So like, actually, let's compile this one more time now that I just added one line of code right here. And what we'll see right away, look at this, coffee groups 2 not found. Wow. So it won't even let me debug my application because I have a typo inside of the code. And if I tap on it, it takes me right to the line of code. That's really, really nice when I'm writing a lot of code or copying and pasting code. It may have, that issue where I typoed something. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And let's just go ahead and build it up one more time. So now it's going to say a few things. We see another error down here, which is that the image property is not found. Well, what's going on? Because I set the data type, right? I set the data type. Well, here's the thing. I'm now inside of the list view, or you might be inside of a collection view or carousel view. And now right here, this item template isn't for this coffee view model. It's for the item inside of it, which is my coffee. All right. So here's what we need to do is on the data template, which you have data typelets on just about everything that has a, looping list of items. We're going to put an X data type on that. So X data type. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to put models coffee. Okay. Because the model is the coffee, the actual item inside of here. So now what I can do here is I can go ahead and compile it again. And we'll see is build successful. We're good to go. And this even works here in this case where I have, different bindings where I'm using relative bindings up one. It figures that out automatically because I have that data type set. Now, if, for example, if I come in and I say this is name 2, for example, we see we get that IntelliSense pop up, but now we'll also get the error and I can click on it and I can go ahead and fix that up. There we go. So let's go ahead and get rid of that 2, compile it back up, and we're good to go. Now, this is working pretty good because we have a list of coffees that are coming in. But if you remember looking at this, this is actually an observable range collection or observable collection of a grouping of string and coffee. So this is going to be my header, and this is going to be my item. So everything is working great right now because this is just the items coming in. But let's say I want to come in and I want to set the group header template here. Let's go ahead and delete that there, right? This is a group header template and it's going to be taking in the entire item over here. So actually you can see here, I'm binding to the key and it's thinking like, where is this thing? Where does it go? Well, if you look at what will be passed into the item, it's actually gonna be this entire grouping. If I go in and go into this definition over here, if I go into it here, we'll see that it's a grouping of T item, like it's an observable range collection, like as well. So it's taking in these items. That's what it's going to be taking in at one of the grouping items. So we got to think to ourselves, well, how do we bind that here? Because there's a data template here too. How do we do that? Well, sometimes, let's just be honest. Let me zoom in here. Sometimes our structures are just really complex. I mean, look at this grouping. It's a grouping of string, of an object, and it's an observable collection. What does that syntax even look like? Well, sometimes it's too complex. It's too complex for even me to describe in the XAML. And honestly, the group header template is one of those situations. So what you're able to do is actually tell the data template with the data type to just kind of ignore this one, kind of null it out. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to say X data type. And I could try to do like MVVM, and I could try to do like a, that's a new namespace for my MVVM helpers and bring that in, but I don't know. It's just not even in there. Like, what is it? It's a generic. So it's really complicated. So what we're going to do here, and this may come up in your case, maybe it won't, but we're going to say X:null. Okay, let's check this out. X:null. So we use the squigglies here, and this is special syntax. So basically say, throw away looking at data compile bindings with the data type for anything inside of here. Just ignore it. It's fine. Not a big deal. Like, just carry on. Basically, ignore this data template type and just carry on. You're good to go. And we see here that it's completely good to go. No errors, anything like that. And now our application, our data types, our bindings, our binding context, everything is 100% now optimized and good to go. When I run my apps, I'm going to see that performance, especially in really big applications with a lot of XAML and a lot of data binding going on. So that's all you got to do. I literally added 3 lines of code, and now this page is way more proficient. And if I have a lot of items, it's really going to pay off. Of course, you want to make sure that you have your XAML compiled binding turned on for the entire application as the default. If you don't have that on, I know that's bananas. It's definitely a single line of code, and it will definitely help you be way more successful. Let me show you what that looks like here. In fact, if you don't have this on, make sure you check this. It's assembly export XAML compilation options compile. That is at the app level. So everything in that assembly, actually the assembly level, will be automatically compiled there. You can turn it off on a page-by-page basis if you need to, but that is what you want to do, is you want to set that on. And that's the only way that compiled bindings works, because they're compiled bindings. You need XAML compilation on. There you go. Your apps are going to be way more proficient. You're going to have a better time developing your applications with Xamarin.Forms and .NET MAUI, because you're going to get that error checking built right in. And of course, Visual Studio will help you by generating that code for you, like I've shown in another video, and I'll put that right up there. All right, I hope you found this really simple way of optimizing your apps really cool, and I hope that you go and make your apps more proficient by adding X data types all over the place in your Xamarin.Forms and .NET MAUI applications. I hope that you liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up over there on YouTube. That really helps the YouTube algorithm of goodness and helps this video be recommended to other people that are interested in this type of content. And of course, if you want, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I put out new episodes every single week. You'll get notified right on your phone, in the browser, or in your email. Who knows how YouTube works? You'll get the notification. And of course, don't forget to have a newsletter, newsletter.mountainmagno.com, that I put out every single weekend. So you can get insight into my life, not just code, a little bit of code in there. And of course, I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/JamesMontemagno. All the links are in the show notes below to this documentation, to the My Coffee app sample, and so much more. Thanks again for tuning in.